Everything I heard to say today, well said, in appreciation to everyone. I'm here to read the history of the Navajo Code Talkers. The Navajo Code Talkers chronological order, as is written down here. We talked Navajo. Some were just schoolboys, and all were from a remote Arizona Indian reservation. But they created what may have been the only unbreakable code in the history of warfare. 1941, December 7th, Pearl Harbor attacked by Japan. The news spread throughout the Navajo reservation. The United States had been attacked. President Roosevelt declared war upon Japan. The United States of America is translated to Navajo as Nihima, which means our mother. Our mother. And the history of Native, we must protect our mother Earth, our family, as was talked about today. The Navajos have a sense of oneness, just talking about the culture of Navajo, but the Native, all other Native tribes have the same sense of spiritual oneness. Everything he owns, his livestock, the ground, the land upon which he walks, which he lives, the sky above him, everything surrounding him is holy. This was the actual beginning of the band of young warriors that rose to defend their nation. They would do anything to help their people survive, including laying down their own lives. Despite everything that American Indians had to endure in the past, their warrior tradition that has been instilled in them from the day they were born, passed down from their cultural history, the tradition of protecting their people, their family, their land, called many of them to serve the United States military. They cared about the communities and the land in which their people had lived for thousands of years. Many of them also served out of sense of patriotism, also wanting to defend the United States. 1942, February 28th, Philip Johnston, having approached Lieutenant Colonel James Jones, a signal officer at Camp Elliott, California. This was regarding to the use of the Navajo language as a basis of a military code. Brought 4 Navajos to the headquarters of Major General Clayton Vogel and successfully demonstrated the usability of the Navajo language for sending messages. Johnston, who was the son of a missionary, had lived on the Navajo reservation as a boy, and he learned the language well. March 6, Major General Vogel recommended the enlistment of 200 Navajos as communication specialists. April, though skeptical, Washington top brass authorized the recruitment of 30 Navajos for a pilot project of one of the platoon for a program which was classified as top secret. Persuaded of it, the chairman of the Navajo tribal nation council gave his approval. In June, same year, the first code consisting of 211 words and 26 words of each letter of the alphabet was devised for the code. On October 2nd, Philip Johnston enlisted himself in the Marines as a staff sergeant and became in charge of the Code Talker recruitment and training program to fulfill the authorized 200 slots. December 7th, Johnston received his first class of Navajo communications specialists. The recruiting visit was actually the outgrowth of a hunch that turned into an abiding conviction that he had. More than 200 terms were added to the original code. In 1943, by the end of August, 191 Navajos became code talkers and assigned throughout the Marine Division in the South Pacific Theater as frontline radio operators. They saw action in the Battle of Tiwara, Cape Glucer, and in 1944, with their complements of the code talkers, the Marines invaded the Marshall Islands, and Saipan was captured. Guam was captured. The code talkers saw plenty of action in Pelelu. In February 1945, Iwo Jima was invaded, and the Navajo code talkers served with distinction during this month-long battle. It is said without the Navajo code talkers, Iwo Jima could not have been taken. April 1st, the last amphibious invasion of the war took place on Okinawa. And it's quite ironic that it was on April Fool's Day. After the surrender of Japan, many code talkers served with other occupational forces both in Japan and China. By the end of the war, over 3,600 Navajos had served their country, and out of that number, 420 served as code talkers. 7 were killed in action. There is a much higher accolade that could be paid an American citizen who is willing to lay down his life for his country. It is said in the Bible, in the book of Jeremiah, 5th chapter, verse 15, I am bringing a distant nation against you, an ancient and enduring nation, a people whose language you do not know, whose speech you do not understand. The Navajo code talkers wish to pay tribute to all of our fallen and deceased comrades. Their sacrifices, they have not been in vain. God bless America. To all our veterans, we pay tribute to their valor, to their courage, and most humbly to their families. Now, an introduction of 5 Navajos here. Thomas Claw, 1st Marine Division, 11th Regiment. Ambrose Howard, 5th Marine Division. Tom Gorman, 4th Marine Division. William McCabe, platoon, 382nd, 382nd, the original all-Navajo platoon, and Joe Palmer, same platoon, 382nd, the original all-platoon Navajo. After the war, these 5 code talkers became members of the Colorado River Indian Tribes Reservation here in Parker. They were sworn to secrecy to keep their code talker past a secret for 23 years. Then they were finally made national heroes. I want to now, code talkers, all the families of the 5 Navajos, all the families of those 5 Navajos that I just called, just please rise. Please rise. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Then here, final words are from the code talkers themselves. Navajo code talker John Brown Jr., Crystal, New Mexico, 1921 to 2009. This is what he had to say. We have seen much in our lives. We have experienced war and peace. We know the value of freedom and democracy that this great nation embodies. But our experiences have also been showing us how fragile these things can be and how we must stay vigilant to protect them. As code talkers, as Marines, we did our part to protect these values. It is my hope that our young people will carry on this honorable tradition as long as the grass shall grow and the rivers flow. John Brown Jr., Crystal, New Mexico. Thomas Claw, Parker, Arizona, Navajo code talker, 1922 to 2009. Thomas Claw. When I was inducted into the service, one of the commitments I made was that I was willing to die for my country, the United States, the Navajo Nation, and my family. My native language was my weapon. Thomas Claw, code talker, 1922 to 2009. And also, before I finish here, I'd like to play a little flute to honor all the veterans. You know, in the tradition that all our veterans we have there now, those that are preparing to go, those that have been, and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. In tradition of the Native, we honor them. When they come home, we apologize to them in the ceremony. We apologize for what they had to see, for everyone said here today, the choices they had to make, the things they had to do. We apologize to them when they come home. And secondly, we honor them. We honor them that they chose like Thomas Claw had said, I am ready to die for my country. They chose to lay down their life for this land, for this country, for the place they live, where their family lived. They chose, so we honor them also in the same ceremony. And thirdly, we celebrate with them. We laugh, we have joy, and we sing together because we know the hardship they've gone through. We know the hardship they had endured. You know, we still have a lot of veterans that suffer from this. They're struggling today. And that's what we do as Native, to ease that pain, bring them back to life, because what they had given to go over there, nobody made them. They went on their own for protection. That warrior instinct within them. That's just the culture that I grew up in. But all you did the same thing. Even though you're not Native, this is your country, this is your family. You sacrificed yourself for this land, for the security, everything that was said today. Thank all of you for that, for coming here today. Amen. I want to just play a song to honor the veterans.